This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. Okay, so I was actually planning on doing a video about, some of the players on the Browns that I think are interesting, and some angles on some players I don't think have been talked about. And that's probably going to go up next week because DeAndre Hopkins, who has been a consistent source of a conversation, I would say, with Browns fans. I don't really believe any of the rumors with D-Hop to be more legitimate, outside of like the idea that, hey, is Deshaun Watson, like, would he like to have his old teammate back? Yes, but I don't think it's been anything more than that where he's doing everything he can to get him, because obviously it would never got to this point if that's how he felt. But he just got released, and that does change things. So now you don't have to trade to get DeAndre Hopkins. So what I want to do today is talk about, one, can the Browns get DeAndre Hopkins? 2, would DeAndre Hopkins want to come here? And 3, would the Browns want DeAndre Hopkins from an on-the-field standpoint? I think there's a lot of different angles to hit on this, so let me talk about that real quick. So when we talk about D-Hop, and when we talk about the situation he's in, people are going to bring up the salary cap stuff, right? Because he was due a lot of money, and if you remember what a lot of the conversation amongst fans was about, it was about that cap number being too high or the draft compensation being too high, even though I don't think the draft compensation was ever going to be that high for him, because he just, like, older wide receivers, they don't usually net more than a 3rd round pick. Usually you get a 4th. I think Randy Moss went for a 4th round pick, and he was younger and healthier than DeAndre Hopkins was at this point of his career, coming out of Oakland. So I don't really think that anybody wanted to give up anything significant. And I guess it just didn't make sense for the Cardinals to trade him to somebody where it wouldn't make sense with the money and all that. That it made more sense to just cut him. So they just cut him, and he is eligible to sign a new deal. Now, what's his money going to look like, right? Because a lot of people are probably assuming he's not going to have a bunch of money, or his contract's not going to be that expensive. And I think that's a lie. Will it be $19 million? It will probably be close to $19 million. This reminds me of when J.J. Watt got released by the Texans and then signed a new deal that was similar to the deal that he had with the Texans. You could point to Odell Beckham, right? The price of wide receivers is high. When he signed that deal, that was a high price for a wide receiver, but now that's kind of average price. You look at what guys around the league are getting at that position, and I really, really wouldn't be surprised if $19 million is probably what he gets, if not more. Because again, like Odell Beckham, after a knee injury where he missed an entire season over the age of 30, where he hasn't been peak Odell Beckham since he was in New York, still signed for a contract that was what, $19 million or 16, and you can get 19 in incentives. So the price of wide receivers is just high right now, right? Like, it's just high right now. That's just what it is. I'm trying to pull up what we have here, right? We got Tyreek Hill at $30 million. We got Devontae Adams at 28, Cooper Kupp at 26, AJ Brown at 25, DK at 24, Stephon Diggs at 24, Debo at 23.8, Terry McLaurin at 22.7, DJ Moore at 20, Keenan Allen at 20, Mike Williams at 20, Chris Godwin at 20, Amari Cooper at 20, Brandon Cooks at 19, Deontay Johnson at 18.3. Deontay Johnson. Like, we don't talk about Deontay Johnson like that. And Christian Kirk, we know he got that 18. Tyler Lockett, like Mike Evans at 16. But Odell's even at 15, Cortland Sutton at 15.2. Even Allen Robinson got $15 million, dog. Like, it's just expensive. So it's not going to be cheap. I don't know if the Browns, like, they can maneuver some stuff and get the post June 1 designation, and they might be able to free up like 12. But what I'm hearing from the cat people on the internets is that this would pretty much require the Browns to move on from Amari Cooper to bring in DeAndre Hopkins. It's an interesting conversation, right? If we're talking about just adding DeAndre Hopkins to this room, oh yeah, if you could do it if DeAndre want to come here on a discount, which he probably is not, right? Why would you want to do that? You have one more chance at a payday. He's probably not coming on a discount. He's going to try to get as much money as he can, and he has the leverage because a bunch of teams want him. And he has the opportunity to play for, like, if you're going to take a discount, like, I understand you have history with Deshaun and all that, but the only team that I would take a discount for in the NFL right now is the Kansas City Chiefs, because you get to play with Pat Mahomes, right? Like, that's worth the discount. And no disrespect to Deshaun, he's not Pat. Pat got them privileges. Deshaun don't got them privileges yet. He's got to earn those privileges. So I don't expect a discount. So if there's not going to be a discount, and I'm not sure if there's a way that you can maneuver this deal unless you want to sign D-Hop to like a 5-year deal or something where you can move all the money into like 2026. Then that you could do that, but then you're signing an old player to a very long deal just to get him under contract for a couple of years, and that doesn't make sense. So if we were just talking about adding D-Hop to this room, I would be all for it, right? Because he's a big receiver. He's a go up and get it guy. We know that he knows Deshaun Watson well. We know that he can adjust to Deshaun Watson's maneuverability. All of this stuff is there. He's the kind of guy that you want to have with Deshaun Watson. All of that being said, if you have to get rid of Amari Cooper to get him, that changes the math, right? Because Coop's fast. Right, he's much faster than D-Hop. I believe D-Hop, even when he was young, was a 4.6, 4.7 guy. Like, he was not a burner, even in college. I think that's why he dropped in the draft, was because he just didn't have the burners. And Coop is fast. Coop is a 4.4 guy. Coop is a more precise route runner, which is a better fit for what the Browns want to do. And I think D-Hop would be a luxury piece for an offense that could use it. But if you're replacing a essential piece in Amari Cooper with a luxury piece in DeAndre Hopkins, I don't know if that makes sense for the Browns. I see it struggling to make sense. You keep in mind the Browns have already brought in Elijah Moore and paid some resources to get him in. They already drafted Cedric Tillman. They had drafted David Bell in the 3rd round. They have Goodwin under a decent guarantee, and they already have Amari Cooper and DPJ under contract this year. Where is the room to add another guy in there at significant money, right? Maybe if you can find a trade for DPJ, like, you would have to get rid of somebody to add DeAndre Hopkins, and the only person you can feasibly get rid of is Amari Cooper. Now, if this were flipped and we can get rid of DPJ to add DeAndre Hopkins, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do it in a heartbeat. No disrespect to DPJ, but I would rather have DeAndre Hopkins. But that's not how it's going to work out, because contract-wise, DPJ is a non-factor. He's really cheap. He's on his rookie deal still. So the only guy who really matters in this conversation when it comes to moving around the money is Amari Cooper. Now, maybe you can find that $20 million somewhere else that you can get rid of. I really don't even think there's really anywhere to do that, because Jack Conklin's got a lot of dead cap money now because he signed a new deal. Wyatt Teller still has dead cap money hits. Joe Bitonio still has dead cap money hits. Jed, he can't be released. He's on a 5th-year option. You just re-signed Ethan Posick, so that's not going to happen. You're not going to get rid of Myles Garrett to add DeAndre Hopkins. You already have everybody that you have on the defensive line is new. Nobody's expensive at linebacker, and nobody's that expensive at safety. And then you look at the corners. You can't get rid of Denzel. He has too much dead cap. You're not going to get any cap space from getting rid of him. Everybody else that's significant in that cornerback room is on their rookie deal. So no cap savings to be made there. So really you can only look at one spot. Like him, or like maybe you can make the argument of getting rid of David Njoku could free up that money, but then you don't have a starting tight end. There's just not the flexibility on the roster, I think, to make this a realistic thing to happen. But it is something that's interesting. And I would never say never, because again, he does have a great relationship with Deshaun Watson. And that might mean a lot more than what we think, right? Because what we're talking about right now is football stuff. But if the behind the scenes stuff is so tight that they're just willing to make it happen, then the football stuff will figure itself out. But that's what it would have to take, is that there would have to be an extreme desire that has not been shown publicly yet for DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson to reunite. Nobody has indicated that it's that extreme. Like, I think they would like to play with each other again, but I don't think it's, I'm going to move my life around to play with you kind of like desire from one of them, one or the other. So I think they'll be fine with what they have, and I think they're probably going to keep what they have there. The other conversation to have is, okay, if we don't think DeAndre Hopkins is coming to the Browns for a number of reasons, then where does DeAndre Hopkins go? And my goodness, it's probably in the AFC. The three teams I've heard, two more credible than the other. The two credible teams is the Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are the two teams that people feel reasonably sure that he's going to be considering. The Baltimore Ravens are a little bit of an outside shot, and then you have everybody else in the league. I think he's going to Kansas City. Why do I think he's going to Kansas City? Because this is the kind of thing that happens, right? Kansas City does need somebody like D-Hop. Like, I think it's inarguable. They need a number one receiver in Kansas City. Like, they did a good job by winning the Super Bowl without a number one receiver because they had Pat Mahomes, but having a D-Hop would make their life a little bit easier. The question is, what's the price that they're willing to pay for D-Hop, and what's the price that D-Hop is willing to sacrifice to be able to play with the Kansas City Chiefs? Again, I think that's probably the only place anybody takes a discount to at this point, because if you're a player and you're deciding, hey, I'm going to cut my future revenue to get this specific goal of mine, you want the highest bet possible. You don't want a nice bet. You don't want an okay bet if you're going to do that. You want the highest bet possible. Is why everybody puts money in like Apple and Amazon. Nobody's trying to have their money disappear, right? You want to put your money in stuff that you know is probably going to go up, has a high likelihood of going up, especially when we're talking about a retirement and savings plan. That's what most people do, is put their money and spread it out between things that they're pretty sure are going to go up. If you're a player and you're going to take that risk, you want to put it in somewhere that you're pretty sure is going to go up. Yeah, you might like Deshaun Watson, but I don't think the Cleveland Browns right now scream, hey, man, this is going to go through, you know, if you're DeAndre Hopkins, right? For us as fans, sure. But for DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think that's how he feels about it. The Kansas City Chiefs do. And I think that's why he could probably take a discount there. I don't think he takes a discount for the Chargers. I think they'll probably pay full price. And I think he's probably going to go somewhere that pays full price. So the Chargers or Baltimore. But the Kansas City Chiefs factor is just so big, right? And maybe they find a way to figure it out. I don't know what their cap situation is, but that's the nightmare scenario. Like, why do the Chiefs need to be even better? Like, they don't need to be even better. They won the Super Bowl with Isaac Pacheco as like their best supporting cast member around Pat Mahomes. Like, it's crazy. Kadarius Toney and Isaiah Pacheco was the supporting cast around Pat Mahomes with a hurt ankle, and they won the Super Bowl. And they could add D-Hop. That's crazy. It's crazy. So that's my thoughts. I don't think the Browns are going to be able to get him, and I don't think the Browns are going to be that interested in getting him because I don't think logistically it's going to work out. I think he's going to want to get his money if he goes somewhere that's not Kansas City. And I think that money's probably going to be around what Amari Cooper makes at the very least. So we're talking about 18 to 19 million. I know some people think he's going to be cheaper than Amari Cooper. Like maybe he takes a deal for 10. I just learned not to be surprised at these wide receiver numbers anymore. So I'm betting on the higher end than the lower end of the estimates out there, and I think it's probably going to be up close to 20. So if it's that, I don't think they're going to do it. But that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Y'all have a great day. Have a good night.